It's officially June, and that means official visits are back. College recruiting is ramping up, and that means the Huskers over the next couple weeks are hosting multiple 4-stars and 5-star prospects in Lincoln. So in today's video, I have a very highly requested recruiting video. We're going to be going over my 5 most sought after recruits that the Huskers are going after. And I'm going to talk about who they are, what they bring to the table, and then I'm going to answer whether or not the Cornhuskers are going to land them when it's all said and done. So really quick, we have a jam-packed episode today. Make sure to smash that like button if you're excited about college recruiting over the next couple months, along with hitting that subscribe button. We're going to be posting a video about Nebraska football, Nebraska recruiting, Nebraska rumors every single day. So please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 4,000 subscribers by the fall. But without further ado, let's just jump right into it, talking about Nebraska recruiting and what's going to be going on over the next couple weeks, if not next couple months. Like I said in the intro, the Huskers are bringing in multiple 4-star and 5-star prospects on the offense, defense, even a couple special teamers. But we're going to go and just talk about my top 5 prospects. A lot of very talented guys, and I narrowed it down to 5 singular recruits. But before I get into them, I'm only going to be going over players that I believe Nebraska has a realistic shot at landing. I'm not going to say, oh, the number 1 player in the country. Of course, that would be Nebraska's number 1 target. Like, obviously not. No, the 5 guys I'm going to mention, Nebraska has a real shot at landing. So let's just start it off with my number 5 prospect that I want the Cornhuskers to land over the next couple months. This is Christian Jones out of Omaha, Nebraska, the number 1 kid in state. 4-star linebacker list at 6'3", 220. And as I've talked about recently, as of right now, he is an Oklahoma lean. I would say he's about 50-55% chance of committing to the Sooners. Florida's also in the mix. Notre Dame's also in the mix. But Nebraska's right up in there. He's been on campus multiple times. He was here for the spring game. And yeah, he's very interested in Nebraska. You've just got to try to tie that knot over the next couple months. What he is as a player, man, he's super twitchy at that linebacker spot. Great athleticism, great speed, really good upside. He's a very raw prospect, but there's a reason why he's a top 100 recruit. He's very highly sought after. This guy could potentially be a first-round draft pick. And really, the reason why he's so high on my list, the reason why he's my 5th most sought after recruit, is because of 2 reasons. One, you've got to protect the state. And in order to shut down the borders, land every single recruit inside Nebraska, you've got to shut down Omaha. Again, credit to Lincoln, credit to some of the western cities inside the state. They produce very good players. Omaha is king. Omaha has always been king. They produce the best recruits. You've got to lock down the metro area. You got to lock down Christian Jones. And number 2 reasons why I got to land this guy is the linebacker room for Nebraska is very inexperienced as of right now. It's very young. You got to land some really, really good talents to add to that room and try to make it better. And this would be a good land for a young linebacker coach, Rob Dvorak. So that is my number 5 prospect. Let's take it over to the number 4 prospect, Jamarion Parker, 4-star running back out of Missouri, former Arkansas Razorback commit. And I did a film breakdown on him, man. He is a complete stud. Listed at 6 foot tall, about 200 pounds. He's a do-it-all running back, workhorse guy. You'd feel comfortable giving him, 20, 15, 25 carries a game. He's a guy who can juke you out of your socks, but he can also lower the shoulder, truck you over. Really good speed on, about 4'4". He's used to being in a shotgun offense. He's used to being in an offense like Marcus Satterfield. And, over the last couple months, he's been a very strong Nebraska lean since he decommitted from Arkansas. So much so that I thought he would already have committed to the Cornhuskers. I'm expecting an announcement, within the next couple weeks. We'll see when that happens. But Jamarion Parker, he would be a massive addition. And same thing with the linebacker room. It's the same with the running back room. You have a bunch of guys in there. You don't have a stud. You need a stud at that running back spot. Jamarion Parker hopefully can be that, because really he's as close to a blue chip talent as you can possibly get at that running back spot. He's a complete stud. He's a do-it-all player. He is a true Matt Rhule running back. So Jamarion Parker is my 4th most sought-after recruit. Let's go to number 3. This is Michael Terry. So a lot of people might have thought that Michael Terry might have been number 2. Most people probably think he'd be number 1. Of course, 5-star wide receiver out of Texas. You must be living under a rock if you haven't heard about this guy. But I'll just fill you in if you haven't. 6'3", 220, Nebraska, Texas, Oregon, Texas A&M, all in the mix. Again, 5-star prospect. The guy who does everything for his high school squad, plays running back, quarterback, wide receiver, defensive back, kicker, punter, punt return, kick return. I mean, he does literally everything. And that's what Matt Rhule loves in a prospect. Loves a guy who plays multiple sports, plays multiple positions, because it shows commitment, it shows drive. That's what Michael Terry has. He's a very good kid, really good potential, another first-round draft pick type of player. So he checks all the boxes, and he's the only five-star, only consensus five-star that's actually going to be on this list. Spoiler alert. But the reason why I only have him at 3 is because, one, wide receiver isn't really a position I need compared to some of the other positions I've named or are about to name. Wide receiver, you're feeling actually pretty good about that room, and it's very easy to get a quality wide receiver out of the transfer portal. Okay, Nebraska landed Samori Toure 2 years ago out of Montana. He was a 1,000-yard receiver for the Cornhuskers. Then they proceeded to land Trey Palmer out of the transfer portal. Was also an 1,000-yard receiver for the Cornhuskers. And then this year, they landed Jamal Banks. They're hoping they can continue the streak and for him to also be an 1,000-yard receiver. So, again, it's a lot easier to recruit wide receivers. It's easier to have a good receiver room and get guys in the transfer portal. That's the only reason why he's this low. But Michael Terry, about as good as any recruit in the country, and he's the best recruit we're going after as of right now. So, let's go to number 2 now. The number 2 player that I want out of anybody that Nebraska's offered or are currently going after, and this is Dawson Merritt. I recently talked about him earlier in the week. Just a do-it-all edge rusher, 4-star, top 100 prospect out of Kansas. Listed at about 6'3", 215 pounds. Really, he's a borderline 5-star, about to get to that 5-star range. And looking at his recruiting process, it's us or Alabama. He is going to be visiting Alabama a week from today. So I'm posting this video on Saturday. He will be visiting them a week from today. And then after that, you can expect to see commitment probably that following week. And you just watch this guy on film. True pass rusher, super athletic. I compared him to Randy Gregory, the way that he plays. You know, guy who can also play all over the defense. He can play traditional linebacker. He can be an edge rusher. He can be a jack. He can have a hand in the dirt on the D-line, right? So you feel very confident about him playing wherever you would possibly need him. And, you know, the reason why I have him at number 2, obviously he's a great recruit, but the 2 positions that you need to recruit the best are offensive line and defensive line. He checks that defensive line position. You know, let's go to number 1 now. We talked about D-line. Let's take it to the other sides of the trenches. This is the O-line. This is S.J. Alofeituli, 6'3", 290, and this guy's a 5-star center out of Bishop Gorman, Nevada. So he announced about a week or 2 ago that he will be taking an official visit to Nebraska. This is big news. Very highly sought after player. Offers from Miami, Bama, Oregon, Michigan, Georgia. All of those guys are in the mix. Right now, I would say that he probably is a Miami lean. Oregon's also going after him very strongly, but Nebraska trying to close the gap and land his talents. And really, talking about this player some more, what is SJ? He's a very high floor player. We talk about high ceiling all the time. Oh, he has the potential to be an NFL draft pick. SJ Alofeituli has a very high floor, which means he's not going to bust. He's going to be a very productive player throughout his college career. He's a guy who can, instantly contribute the second he gets on campus. He'll be in the mix to win that center job as a true freshman. That's how talented he is. Very advanced technique, very advanced hands for his age, good footwork, just a completely elite offensive line recruit. And like I said before, I can sit here and hype up a running back recruit or a wide receiver recruit or a cornerback recruit. It doesn't matter. You need to recruit the trenches at an elite level. That's what Nebraska understands, and you got to land this guy. So that is why he is number 1 on my big board for Nebraska going forward. Man, those are some of the best players in the country. Nebraska has a legit shot at landing all of them. Now, let's just run through them. Do I think Nebraska lands all 5 of these prospects? Christian Jones, at the end of the day, I think he's a toss-up, but I think Nebraska will land him after a very successful 2024 campaign. Jamarion Parker, yes, I do think Nebraska will land him. Michael Terry, now Texas and Oregon are in the mix. I do think Nebraska will land him. Dawson Merritt, I do think Nebraska will land him. And then S.J. Alofeituli, that one's going to be the biggest battle out of any of the 5 I just mentioned. Again, he's a 5-star offensive lineman. That's exactly what you would expect. As of right now, I think he probably will go to Miami. But Nebraska, they're trying to change that. He still has an official visit lined up, and hopefully they do in fact. So, that is my top 5. Again, a lot of other really good players. Do not get me wrong that the Cornhuskers are going after. It'll be interesting to see where this class lands, whether it is a top 15 class, top 20, maybe even top 10. We're hoping it can get inside there. So good things happen in the next couple of months. Of course, I'm going to have all recruiting updates on this channel. So speaking of which, if you made this far in the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And hey, let me know down in the comment section below, which one of those recruits do you want the most? Is it the offensive lineman, defensive lineman? Maybe it's Michael Terry there at wideout. Let me know. And as always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule. See you in the next one.